Let us look at them together one by one. Company A is growing at the rate of 30%. Good sign or bad sign?
Good sign.
Obviously good sign, because how many companies today would grow at the rate of 30%? So that of course is a good sign. Company A's gross profit is increasing at the rate of 28%. Good sign or bad sign? Moderate. Okay, remember 28% growth in the gross profit is not a bad sign, definitely. But when it comes to decision making, when it comes to controlling your operations, when it comes to risk management, when it comes to value creation, then you have to look at this number differently. And how do you look at this number differently? That if my sales is increasing at the rate of 30%, assuming everything else to be the same, my gross profit should also have at least increased by 30%. So if my gross profit is increasing by 28%, that means something is wrong somewhere, yes or no?
Yes.
And where it is wrong? What has gone wrong? And where it has gone wrong? Operational efficiency. That means my costs have over increased my sales. Which expenses? Material cost and the manufacturing expenses, right? So that is a trigger for decision. I see this is how it is done world over. So the finance controller of ArcelorMittal or any other company for that matter, when he sees numbers and जब उसको लगता है कि gross profit 2% से कम हो गया, now somebody has to be given a responsibility कि भाई इसको जरा examine करो, check करो what has gone wrong with the material cost and what has gone wrong with the manufacturing expenses, and thereby our gross profit has gone down, right? And this is how you take a decision, and that apparently is not a good sign. But for the purpose of decision making, this is how you would look at. EBITDA is increasing at the rate of 25% against the increase of 28% in the gross profit. Good sign or bad sign? Good sign or bad sign? Typically, remember, if your EBITDA is increasing normally in your business, it is not a bad sign. But understand once again, we are not looking at the EBITDA per se, we are looking at the performance of the entire business. And when you look at the performance of the entire business and you realize that your gross profit is increasing at the rate of 28%, assuming everything else to be the same, your EBITDA should also have increased at least by, everybody, at least by 28%. So if my EBITDA is increasing at the rate of 25% against the growth of 28% in my gross profit, it tells me what? It tells me that my
Cost of COGS is
COGS or admin expenses, that means my SG&A, my selling, general and administrative expenses have over increased my gross profit, and that means what? That means it is a trigger for decision making. Somebody has to be given the responsibility कि भैया इसको find out करो और मालूम करो कि कंपनी का SG&A क्यों बढ़ गया. Please remember, हम लोग ऐसा नहीं करते हैं, and that is why we face trouble. Remember, as the owner of the business, that is my biggest responsibility to control the business. Yes or no?
Yes.
As who will do it? If I, as the owner of the business, is not controlling my business, then who will control? Nobody. I will have people who will do the job for me, but remember, he will do the job for me only when I am asking him to do so. That means what I need to do? I need to put somebody on the job and ask him, check करो कि कंपनी का ये साल में SG&A क्यों बढ़ गया, किस कारण से बढ़ गया, कौन सा आइटम बढ़ गया, check करो and examine करो, right? So this is how you take decisions. Let's come to company B. Company B is growing at the rate of 30%. Good sign or bad sign?
good sign.
Obviously, it's a good sign because for the same reason. Now, the gross profit of company B is increasing at the rate of 40%. Good sign or bad sign?
Good sign.
Very good sign. Very good sign. And why very good sign? Because the 40% growth in my gross profit tells me what? It tells me 30% increase my gross profit is on account of increase in the sales, and 10% growth in my gross profit is on account of
Reduction of expenses.
which expenses?
Operating expenses.
Which operating expenses?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing cost and
Wrong.
good sign or bad sign?
Good sign.
Good sign. Please remember, it's a good sign for sure. Is it still a trigger for decision making? And the answer is yes. Even if my gross profit is increasing by 10% more then the growth in my sales, even it is a trigger for decision making. Meaning what? Meaning somebody needs to be given the responsibility कि मालूम करो कि ये साल कंपनी ने ऐसा क्या गजब कर दिया कि कंपनी का ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट 40% से बढ़ गया, कंपनी की मटेरियल कॉस्ट 10% से कम हो गई, कंपनी के मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्सपेंसेस 10% से कम हो गए. व्हाट इज दैट वंडरफुल थिंग दैट द कंपनी हैज डन? सो समबडी हैज टू गिवन दैट responsibility and he needs to find out. It is quite possible. Number one, it is possible that something must have done wonderfully. So that has to be brought out to the notice of everyone so that it can be replicated in the future year also. Otherwise, it is also possible कि ये साल के जो खर्चे थे वो लास्ट ईयर में बुक हो गए. ये साल के जो खर्चे थे वो लास्ट ईयर में बुक हो गए, या फिर ये साल के खर्चे लास्ट ईयर में बुक होने के बजाय ये साल में आ गए हैं. And that is why the material cost is going down. So that means it is possible that you can realize that this increase in the gross profit is not because something wonderful has happened in the company. It is because the wrong accounting. Are you with me? Yes. So even if it is on account of wrong accounting, the corrective steps needs to be taken, and somebody has to be given the responsibility, and somebody needs to be pulled up in case something has gone wrong with the accounting. Now this is how, friends, you use the numbers for the purpose of decision making. आपके सामने P&L आपका अकाउंटेंट लेके आया, आपने नज़र घुमाया और उसको बोला थैंक यू, वो चला गया. इसका मतलब वो पर्पज का कुछ, उस एक्सरसाइज का कुछ पर्पज निकला नहीं. आपको क्या करना है? P&L सामने आया तो आपको नंबरों को एनालाइज करना है, कंक्लूड करना है कि कहाँ पर गड़बड़ है, कहाँ पर अच्छा है. जहाँ पर गड़बड़ है वहाँ पर करेक्टिव एक्शन लो, और जहाँ पर अच्छा है उसको बाकी जगह replicate करो. This is how you need to look at all these numbers. Let's look at company the further. So you realize that the EBITDA of this company is increasing at the rate of 25% against the growth of 40% in the gross profit. Good sign or bad sign? Very bad sign. Very bad sign. All the good work this company did in improving the gross profit, because of the over increase in the SG&A, all the good work has been washed away, and therefore trigger for a decision. That means somebody needs to be given the task to delve into it and find out what has gone wrong with the SG&A of the company, thereby the EBITDA of the company has gone down. Let's look at company C. Company C is growing at the rate of 20%. Good sign or bad sign? Good sign, because how many companies would grow at the rate of 20%? So it may not be as good as company A or B, but increase of 20% in the sales is a good sign. Gross profit is increasing at the rate of 25%. Good sign or bad sign? Obviously good sign. Obviously good sign. And the EBITDA is increasing at the rate of 30%. Good sign or bad sign? Obviously good sign. And then you realize suddenly that the EBIT is increasing at the rate of 25% against the increase of 30% in the EBITDA. Good sign or bad sign? Good sign or bad sign? Good sign or bad sign? Good sign, ma'am. Good sign, good sign, good sign, good sign. देखो, जरूरी नहीं है कि पहले वाले ने बोला है वही आंसर अपने को देना है. आप आपके आंसर को बदल सकते हो और कुछ और भी आंसर दे सकते हो. लक्ष्मी, गुड साइन और बैड साइन? कंफ्यूज, ओके. गुड साइन, बैड साइन, बैड साइन, गुड साइन. देखो, माँ भी, पिताजी और बेटी में भी एग्रीमेंट नहीं है इस पॉइंट के ऊपर. नो वरीज, नो वरीज. दैट्स ऑन द लाइटर साइड. नाउ व्हाट वी डू, आई वाज थिंकिंग दैट ऑल ऑफ यू वुड say it is a good sign, and I would accept that answer, and we would call the tea for every one of you. Then I thought maybe all of you would say it's a bad sign, so all of you would say the bad sign, so I will accept that also as an answer, and I would say all right. So then again also we would call the tea. But I am seeing that some are saying good sign, some are saying bad sign. That means there is no consensus. और देखो, यूनानिमिटी होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. देश को मजबूती चाहिए आज की तारीख में, तो उसके लिए यूनानिमिटी होना ज़रूरी है. तो कम से कम हमारे ग्रुप में तो यूनानिमिटी होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. तो हम चाय को बुलाएंगे, ज़रूर बुलाएंगे, लेकिन कब बुलाएंगे? जब आप लोग सब मिलके एक ही आंसर देंगे. आप सब लोग बोलेंगे गुड साइन है, हमको मंजूर है. आप सब लोग बोलेंगे बैड साइन है, वो भी हमको मंजूर है, बट आंसर हैज़ टू बी सेम. So let me give you a time of 1 minute and 11 seconds. Discuss with your neighbor and come to a conclusion कि भाई ये गुड साइन है या बैड साइन है. तो या तो आप सामने वाले को कन्विंस करिए, नहीं तो फिर सामने वाले से कन्विंस हो जाइए कि ये गुड साइन है कि बैड साइन है. 1 minute 11 seconds and your time starts now.